Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I'm Reverend Matt and I'm the Connectionalist, and today we're going to do something a little different. I know a lot of people in my comments and some of my faithful watchers are young people, a lot of them men, although there's women too. And so I see a lot of stuff on the internet about dating, about Christian relationships, and I thought what I would do is I'm going to watch a video. We're going to react to a video today. It's called Wisdom from When You're a Single Christian, and a lot of stuff on the internet about Christian dating advice is bad. I'll just be completely frank. It's like not good, or it's incomplete, or it's full of a bunch of tropes and triteness and all that kind of stuff. And so I haven't watched this video. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into this video blind, and I'm going to critique what I don't like or back up what I think is good and give you my perspective. I'm 33. I'll be 33 this year. And I am getting married in September, and I've been single for most of my adult life. I spent many, many years single and went through all of that. And so I want to help give my perspective on this. This is not something I'm going to do all the time, but I think it's important to talk about real life things, not just like super high level theological things. And so I'm going to start trying to cover some more of that stuff on my channel too. I think that could be helpful for you all. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and dive right on in. And we're going to wait to the end to see if I recommend that we like and subscribe to this channel. Hopefully so. So let's go ahead and jump right on in. Ooh, I need to move this over. See how fast I can do that? Look at that. Boom.
Oh man, we've watched the movies with the guy liking the girl, them having a fun little montage of them laughing or doing something cute, and they get in some kind of argument that brings them closer together.
I mean, it's a good start that we're talking about how movies do not portray. I think this is actually a huge thing people fall for. They see like idyllic romance and shows and movies, and they're like, oh, that's what my life should be like. And that's not how real people interact with each other ever. I mean, you can have moments that are similar, I guess, but it's not healthy to think that that's normal.
Bam, they fall in love, they're together. And when we're done watching, we think, why am I so alone?
Right.
So if you're a Christian who has the desire to be married, and you find yourself incredibly single, you've come to the right place, my friends.
We'll find out if it's the right place. Let's see.
Now, don't think of singleness as a bad thing. You have to see it as a potential season of great growth. Not gonna lie though, it's tough.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to be married, it can feel like bad to be single, and so I understand that. But it's also important to realize that singleness in and of itself is a life that you can have a healthy and fulfilled life as a single person. Marriage is not the key to happiness. There's a woman in my church who is going to be 104 this year, and I don't think she's on any medications, and she's going to be 104 years old, and she was never married. That's probably why she's going to be 104.
So we've provided 4 tips for you should you want to prepare for a future relationship. Tip number 1, be someone capable of love. 1 John 3.
Yeah, this is actually, I think, the most important. This is one of the most important things. Everybody's capable of love, but what he means here, I get what he's meaning here. Be someone who is capable of having a emotionally regulated relationship. A lot of people jump around to different relationships or whatever, and they're just not emotionally regulated at all. And if you're not an emotionally regulated person, you won't be able to have a meaningful relationship. So working on yourself is very important.
16. By this we know love, because Jesus laid down his life for us, and we also ought to lay down our lives for the brethren. Please note that biblically, love is not an emotion. It's an action. Sometimes love includes emotion, but not all the time.
Yeah, I actually think this is great. So far, so good. Love can be emotions, can be like involved in it, but love is a choice. I've talked to many people over the years who struggle in their marriages. And by the way, I'm not a relationship expert. I just want to throw that out there. Not even close. I'm just trying to give you my perspective as a pastor and as a Christian. And it is true that love is often an action. It's usually an action. We usually, in long-term relationships, we choose to love somebody because there are times where we're not going to always feel that for them. That's just reality. And if nobody's ever told you that, I'm sorry that they haven't told you. I'm sorry that everything seems like a storybook. But you'll go there. There are seasons where you don't always feel as in love as you always have, right? Or you're struggling with that person, and at that point, the commitment of marriage and of a long term relationship is choosing to love that person even when they're being difficult, even when you're being difficult, and that's important to do because there are going to be times when you're the difficult person that needs that love being chosen for them.
Out of Jesus' love, he died a painful death for us, regardless of how he felt, so we can have eternal life.
Yeah.
Put simply, true love is putting someone else's needs above our own, no matter the cost.
I wouldn't say no matter the cost. I think we have to be careful. So what we say matters. I'm not dunking on this video. I'm not going to dunk on it, but I do think like that's what I'm doing here is we're talking about language. No matter the cost is not true, right? If you're being beaten physically or you're being verbally abused, that's not a cost worth paying to put someone's needs above your own. There are legitimate reasons to end a marriage. There are legitimate reasons to end a relationship, but there's way more legitimate reasons to end a relationship than to end a marriage, right? And so no matter the cost, I would just say putting someone's needs above your own most of the time is a good way to put it. But no matter the cost, I wouldn't say, because that leads people to think, well, I just need to stick it out with this person even though they're beating me up or they're verbally abusing me. And no, you don't actually. That's unchastity. When you abuse somebody, that's unchastity. So you can leave a marriage for that, right? And so if you're in an abusive relationship where you find yourself in that place, do not think that love is working through that with that person. There are limits to the mistakes people make that we put up with. We forgive people, but that doesn't, when you forgive people, doesn't mean you have to stay in a marriage or stay in a relationship with them.
Know this: if you want to enter into a relationship, it takes hard work.
That's true.
So while you're single, you should be moving in the direction of being able to take care of yourself and have the capacity to support and take care of another person.
Yeah, so that's important. You have to take care of yourself. If you can't take care of somebody else unless you're taking care of yourself. It's as simple as that. You really have to prioritize that.
And that would mean supporting your loved one and their fears, insecurities,
Yeah.
and weaknesses.
So it's good.
So
It's
whether
good.
you're a guy or a girl, you need to be capable of bringing something to the relationship.
I like how the little cartoon girl, he just put like blush and a little eyelashes.
Whether it's physical, emotional, or spiritual protection or provision. Some practical ways to grow in love? Get a job.
Oh man, that was awesome. I agree with that, right? Here's the thing. If you are not in school, if you're an adult and you're not in school and not working, you shouldn't be dating. There is a hierarchy of things that have to be. You're not in a place where you can emotionally or honestly maturity or just a place in your life, right? Like you need to work on other pieces first. You need to get a steady job. You need to make sure you're taking care of yourself. You need to have a roof over your head. Those kinds of things, right? Like there are other things, and it's okay if you're in a place where you're not employed and you're not in school, like maybe you got laid off or something like that. That's okay. You just have to understand that those things need to be taken care of first, right? You really need to focus on making sure that those life things are taken care of before you try and enter a relationship. So it's true. The practical ways to go. Get a job. Yeah, that's a good start if you're a young person.
Learn to work hard.
Yeah.
Save money. Manage your finances wisely.
Yeah. Working hard is important. Saving money, managing finances. My fiance will tell you I tend to be the spender. She tends to be the saver. And so you can save so much that you have a poor relationship with money to the point where you don't ever want to do anything or go anywhere or whatever it is. But then the adverse of that, on the other end, you can be such a spender that you don't have money. And so you have to really hold that in balance.
Be healthy. Live with integrity, and don't cut corners by cheating.
Yeah, integrity is super important. Like somebody who doesn't cut corners, right? Like you're going to face that temptation in life quite a bit, right? To cut corners. It's so easy to get away with. That's why so many people do it, because it's easy to get away with cheating and cutting corners. Our church started a coffee company. Oop, there you can see it right there. Our church started a coffee company, and when we started working in that, we encountered that a lot in the business world. Just people that just want to cut corners, they don't want to do things right. And if you see somebody who never does that or has a commitment to doing things right, that's a huge green flag because it shows they have a deep integrity when nobody's watching, right, to do the right thing.
You can start making the effort to cut off any addictions that would be harmful to
Sure.
the relationship.
Yeah, it's
Learn
good.
to pray and read your Bible on your own and learn how to be a good friend. All that to say, be responsible for yourself
It's a pretty good video so far.
and for others so that your life can provide the love that's needed for a relationship. Tip number 2, learn to evaluate good character.
Yeah.
If you're a guy, pay attention to Proverbs 31:30.
Here we go, the Proverbs 31 stuff. My feminist progressive friends who are women do not like all this, the kind of movement around being a Proverbs 31 woman. But mostly I think because it's kind of cringe, I think is why they don't like it. But some of the advice that comes out of Proverbs 31, it can be really helpful even in the modern era. You can hear my dogs barking in the background. But yeah, it's Proverbs, obviously it's the scriptures, right? So that stuff can be very helpful. But yeah, that's, it's really important to pay attention to what the proverb is teaching and not what the culture is saying about it, right? And a lot of the stuff in there is good.
Is deceitful and beauty is passing, but a woman who fears the Lord, she shall be praised.
Right, like that's great.
And to you,
People criticize it because it's like a cringe evangelical movement where it's like, I'm going to be a Proverbs 31 woman. They've got like the bumper sticker and stuff. But like, if you really read it, like it's good. Of course, it's the scriptures.
ladies, look at Ephesians chapter 5, verse 25. Husbands, love your wives just as Christ also loved the church and gave himself for her. I'll address the guys first and then the girls. For some reason, we guys can be completely blinded by a woman's looks and figure. And guess what?
That's just the truth. So,
Great men of power like Samson, Solomon, and David were all taken down by beautiful women.
were they taken down by beautiful women or were they taken down by their own inability to control themselves? It was the latter. Bathsheba wasn't doing anything. She was taking a bath. So they're not taken down by, well, I guess Samson it's a little bit more like takedown, right? With the Samson delight, but it's still fundamentally their own ability not to control, right?
Know this. You need more than a pretty face when it comes to being in a relationship. You need a God-fearing woman of character that works hard, is respectful, and brings honor in what she does, because looks can deceive and will fade with time.
That's true. Yeah, you basically, I think for a lot of young men, like you see somebody and you're like, oh my gosh, they're so attractive or whatever, right? But I think it's important to realize all those things fade like with time. So you have to look at the person in front of you. You have to say, if this person was 80 and I'm 80, do I still want to be with them? The answer is yes, you're on the right track. If you're like, I'm really only with this person because of the way they look, that's not good. That will not last.
And ladies, note Ephesians when it commands husbands to love their wives the same way Jesus loved the church. Yeah, Jesus was willing to die for the church.
Yeah.
So as you look at guys that interest you, pay close attention to his character and ask yourself, is he someone that sacrifices himself for others? Does he give of his time, his energy, his strength, or his finances, or is he selfish? To all the ladies and gentlemen watching this.
Well, everybody's selfish. That's important. But it's a gradient, right? So how selfish is the person?
No.
Or here's another one. Do they have the capability to notice when they're being selfish and apologize or do better, right? I think that's important too, because everybody's selfish and they're going to have selfish moments. I think a lot of times, a lot of people, they look for the perfect person, and the perfect person doesn't exist. But what you want to be looking for is, do they generally have a character that leads them to that, where they have enough self-awareness to know that they're selfish and to counteract those decisions, those natural tendencies to be selfish, and are they working to improve that?
That real relationships need more than nice hair and an attractive physique.
It's true.
Life comes with its fair share of struggles. So you need a person of character that is willing to support you through life's ups and downs. So learn to see past their beauty and see if they are someone that works hard, is respectful, and lives with integrity. Tip number 3, learn to be content in God.
This is good not for being single. This is good for every single person, by the way.
chapter 2, verses 9 to 10. For in him dwells all the fullness of the Godhead bodily, and you are complete in him who is
That's a great text about the Trinity.
the head of all principality and power. This passage was written to the Colossian church that was being deceived into thinking that they needed more than just Jesus. And the application we need to take from this
I'm not sure if that's what it's addressing. I'd have to do research on that on my own, but okay.
is that you right now in your singleness do not need a partner.
That's true.
Let me explain the
You don't.
dangers of why this is important. If you allow your heart to reach a place where you become completely dependent on another person, you're only one step away from being shattered.
Yeah.
If you get in that kind of a relationship, that person can become an
It's what my fiance always says to me. She always says, "I don't need a man. I just want one, and I want you." So
idol and a kind of God to you. You'd spend time with them, serve them, and love them, and that's fine and all. But what happens if the relationship doesn't work out?
yeah,
Or something happens to them? I'll say this: you can't put all of your hope in a relationship.
yeah, it's true. I mean, you put a tremendous amount of hope in a person when you marry them, right? But it is important to remember at the end of the day, you cannot put all of it because it's a person.
You are complete in Christ.
Yeah, it's good. It's good advice.
Your salvation, your hope, with access to love and wisdom. Now, it is okay to want and desire a relationship. That's fine.
Yeah.
At the same time, though, never allow a relationship to be your God. Those who put their full dependence upon a person will surely be broken. You must learn to stand on your own
This is pretty good theologically so far. I'm actually kind of shocked because a lot of this stuff's not very good.
and understand that you are made for more than just romantic love. For those who follow Jesus, know that he is all that you need. And should you think otherwise, really learn and see just how good Jesus is. Tip number 4, own your choice and take responsibility.
Yeah.
1 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 5. Do we not have a right to take along a believing wife, even as the rest of the apostles and the brothers of the Lord and Cephas?
This is really funny because, like, when you think about like priestly celibacy, you think about this text where, yeah, do we not have a right to take a believing wife, just as the brother of the Lord and Cephas, Peter, right? And so, clerical celibacy doesn't come around till later in the church. Of course, the apostles, many of them were married.
1 Corinthians.
That's kind of the main argument against clerical celibacy, is that it's like, well, it was clearly done well by the apostles, right? So who are we to say that you can't? But I do understand it because ministry, while not being married, is a lot simpler. So I get why they do it.
Corinthians 7:9. But if they do not have self-control, let them marry, for it is better to marry than to burn with passion.
Yeah, this is a famous Paul text where he's talking about, like, if a young couple, like, if they don't have self-control, just let them marry so that they don't burn in their passion. And that's an interesting text. And so that's not typically advice I would necessarily give. I get that Paul gives it, and I get it's the scripture, but it's also contextual, right? So we have to remember this is written in a context where marriage was completely different in the first century than it is today. I would not counsel a couple to get married just so that they can have sex. I think that's probably a marriage that's going to fail. And so I wouldn't counsel that today because of the context around marriage today. But yeah, it's an interesting text.
Now, just because I said we need to be content in God alone doesn't mean we don't have the freedom to be in a relationship. You can choose to be married. In fact, Paul encourages people to get married if they have a burning desire for intimacy. So if this is you, that's okay. To be married is a very good thing.
Yeah, like, see, I just wouldn't tell, like, 19-year-old couple, and most pastors wouldn't, by the way. A 19-year-old couple comes in and they're like, we want to get married. How long have you been dating? 5 months. So tell me about it. Well, we're just really struggling, and, we want to be intimate, but we can't until we're married. So we want to get married. And I'd be like, if that was my premarital counseling, I probably wouldn't marry them. I'd be like, I want to see discipline around that specifically. And the reason for that, for a longer period of time, because that, those things fade, right? So if you can't be together without that, then how are you going to be together if for some reason you can't? Somebody has an accident, somebody gets sick, right? You need to be able to show that you have some discipline around that area. And when your passions are driving your decision making around a commitment that's going to last 50 years, I don't think that's always wise.
So if you want to be married, own that choice. And if you've reached a place of greater emotion,
you also have to remember too, so Paul tells them this because Paul's belief in the first century was that the parousia, the return of Christ, was imminent, right? So it was going to happen within their lifetime, so it didn't really matter, right? Just get married because you don't have to worry about the long-term relationship because Christ is going to return. But by the end of Paul's life, right, he's starting to, well, maybe it's going to be a little while, right? And of course, here we are 2,000 years later. So you have to remember we're in a Christian context when this was written, in which the return of Christ was imminent. So if you had two 19-year-olds, Paul's like, yeah, sure, just let them get married. That way they're not burning with passion or whatever it is. Just let them get married, and we don't have to worry about the long-term nature of the relationship.
Spiritual, and financial maturity, start putting yourself in places where you can meet like-minded people who also want to serve and love God. Now, does God play a role in helping you find your partner? Yes. And at the same time, you should do your part if you choose to pursue marriage.
So as an Arminian, I would not say that everyone is like preordained a spouse. I do not think that I don't believe in the theory of like, oh, that's the one, right, that has been planned for me for the beginning of time. There are probably multiple people in the world that every person could have a healthy marriage with. But you chose that one person, right? And I think God honors that choice. And we could talk about whether does God know what choice you were going to make, right? Like we can have that theological debate, right? That's a Calvinism versus Arminianism thing about like predetermination, election, all those kinds of things. But I just don't believe that like it's like, oh, it's just not your time yet, right? Like that's something that's not helpful for young single Christians when they're like, oh, it's just not your time yet, right? Sometimes dating it's a luck thing, right? It's marriage is like some people roll the dice at 22, some people at 25, some people at 40, right? Some people get married once, it didn't go well, and then they get into a good marriage, right? So that is not always super helpful, right? To say that like God plays a super heavy role in that, but I do think God plays a role in forming you and forming who you are to prepare you for marriage in that kind of waiting time, right? But I don't think it's like it's going to happen. It's a preordained thing. It's going to happen or not. I wouldn't teach that theologically, but
marriage is a good thing that takes work. So we should put in the work if we actually want it. So yes, give your ambitions for marriage to God, but don't use it as an excuse to cover up potential laziness.
Sure. Like, I think that's a pretty good middle ground there, right? Like, you have to do your part.
All right. We hope this helps. So if you're single in hopes of being in a relationship one day, remember these 4 tips. Tip number 1, be someone capable of love. Tip number 2, learn to evaluate good character. Tip number 3, learn to be content in God. And tip number 4, own your choice and take responsibility. Now remember, if you find yourself longing for a partner, that's okay. Keep growing. And know that if you ever feel like there's not enough love in your life, you can rest knowing that Jesus loves you.
Yeah, you can. That doesn't always make people feel less lonely. I would say like if you are feeling lonely and you're struggling with that, find a local church. If you're not in a church, or if you're not going to church every week, you're kind of doing the couple times a month thing, go every week, commit to a church, commit to knowing people, get yourself out there and meeting people. You might meet somebody, but that's not the reason. You'll just feel less lonely being out and among people. So that's always good as well. Honestly, I showed you my thumbnail for the last video. Well, whatever, that's fine. That was my thumbnail for the last video. That was pretty good. I would say, yeah, like and subscribe. I think this is called Impact Video Ministries. I haven't seen any of their other stuff, so I may disagree with some other stuff, but that's okay. I disagree with a lot of channels that I ask you to subscribe to. Make sure you go like and subscribe to these people. This was a good video, pretty good advice. And just know, if you're single, that's okay. If you're desiring a relationship, that's a good thing too. But all the advice in here was good about making sure you're committing to growing and growing in your faith and growing as a person. It's really important as well. So, yeah, I'll try to do these topics from time to time, just kind of like simple life topics that have to do with theology as well and how we live as Christians. Because as a Methodist, we really believe in the practical side of living out your faith. And so I'm going to try and do these some more as I also look at some theological topics, and I'll continue to do that as well. So make sure you go like and subscribe to the original content creator, and make sure you like and subscribe to my channel today if you like the commentary. But I'm River Matt, and I'm the Connectionalist. I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.